Flag Race is one of the 3 challenges that make up a guild's noblesse skills. It consists of one of 3 different flag race maps that a player races against time in order to complete 3 laps. It tests the very basics of your character control as you navigate through these maps with simple movement, jumps, and abilities like a high jump and a dash. And when given enough practice, such character control can nudge into useful territory in boss fights. In this video, I'll be explaining how I navigate the morning race and how I go about getting a perfect score on this map, which is to complete all 3 laps in less than 2 minutes and 10 seconds. In order to obtain a sub 210, it's important that you are very consistent when it comes to flag race, so be sure to use practice mode to your advantage if you need it. Additionally, being consistent also means that you are not failing any of the ability shortcuts. There are 2 areas where you will be using your high jump, 1 or 2 areas where you will be using your dash, depending on the method that you use, and 1 area where you will be using your rally. There are 2 more notes that I want to point out before we start this guide. Firstly, this video is made not necessarily to show you all the shortcuts, but is made to show you the bare minimum of what you will need in order to get a perfect score. There are quite a few shortcuts in Flag Race that are quite well known, not necessarily by me, but maybe by another guildmate that you know. However, the issue with many of these shortcuts is that it poses a big risk, and it's that if you fail the shortcut, you will inevitably fail to get a perfect score. Lastly, this video is made with the idea that you are racing by yourself. From my personal experience when I race with other people, some of the stars are not actually appearing, causing my cooldowns to be a lot longer than they should be. Whether or not this is a bug, I don't know. It's hard to say until Next on America gives a final verdict with an emergency maintenance. Upon entry into the race, we're going to get on top of the portal, obviously. Make sure you don't have snowshoes equipped. We won't need them. We have the ability for that. When the race begins, we're going to immediately turn on snowshoes along with use our first dash in the race. As we navigate past the first 2 pits, we're going to see this uphill slope. This is where you're going to be using your rally. If you use it at the bottom of the hill, the duration of it will last all the way up the hill along with help you for the next 2 pit jumps. You can use the flat points on each of the hills as a reference point as to where you need to jump. Following the double pit jump, we'll be coming up on what many flag racers refer to as the stairs, for obvious reasons. Your reference point for this jump will be this little piece of grass sticking out from the ground. Once your character walks right on top of it, you'll be performing your first jump. Now for the first 3 or 4 jumps, you'll be doing consecutive jumps back to back. However, all but 1 of these jumps will be going the full distance. After 2 or 3 full distance hops, you're going to be performing something called a short hop. This is done by letting go of your arrow keys and letting your jump carry through. We do this because if we were to do a 1 more full distance hop, we would hit the wall and lose time. Once your short hop is performed, you can do 1 more full distance jump in order to clear the stairs. Though do keep in mind that you will need to re-input your jump key. Now following the staircases, you'll notice this boost pad, and this will be one of the 2 spots that you use your high jump on. By timing your S jump correctly, you'll slingshot upwards and skip the entire bottom right segment. Continue your walk and you'll hit a boost pad that'll take you up to the ropes. Once you climb to the top of the ropes, immediately start heading right as we'll be using the boost pad. We're going to do a full distance jump here and then immediately convert it into a short hop just as we hit the boost pad. If you have any arrow keys held down as you hit the boost pad, you're going to fail this segment. Jump and then immediately let go of your arrow keys in order to perform what we call the top right tramp, along with grabbing the star to reduce the cooldown on our skills. The last rope on this platform can be used as a reference point as to where you can jump. Once your character is slightly past the rope, you should be safe to go. Immediately after landing from using the top right tramp, you're going to be using your second dash for the lap, which will put you in a prime position for the next area, being the platform segment. You can do this in whichever way you want, but the way that I'm going to do it is platform 2, 3, and 5. If you know how to position your character, you can jump and land on platform 2, jump again and land on platform 3, followed by 1 more jump to land on platform 5. And be sure to grab the cooldown star with 1 more jump after clearing the platforms. This will put your high jump ability off cooldown, allowing you to perform the high jump over the maze, which is a classic when it comes to flag race. Now if you want to, you can toggle off your snowshoes here so that after you take the high jump over the maze, you can slide and carry your momentum into another jump. But this can also be done with snowshoes toggled on as well. With snowshoes toggled off, you can let your character slide for a bit and then jump to carry your momentum and perform 1 last jump at the very bottom to land on whatever this is. Meanwhile, with snowshoes toggled on, your character will come to a stop immediately after landing above the maze, so you're going to need to pre-buffer a jump right after you hit your high jump so that your momentum will carry through. Toggling off your snowshoes here will definitely be faster than keeping them on, but both methods are completely eligible for the perfect score of sub 210. Now many players have struggled in the past with the timing of this high jump, and well, I don't think it got any easier unfortunately. Some players like myself actually perform an initial jump in order to time our high jump cast with when we hit the ground, but it's also personal preference. What's important here is that you land your high jump over the maze along with an additional jump to carry your momentum to move on to the next segment of the race. Now there's a little dent in the snow right here that can be used as a reference point as to where you should be jumping. The objective for this segment is to jump, grab the last cooldown star, fall down, take damage, which will knock you into the boost pad and take you up to the end platforms. Now depending on where you jumped, you may need to adjust your character as you're falling down with your left and right arrow key. But when you're about to take the fall damage, make sure that your character is facing left. If your character is facing right, you'll be knocked away from the boost pad, which is not good. Now once you land on the end platform, it's just a couple more jumps to the portal, but this area, in my opinion, is one of the hardest areas to navigate as it is very easy to fall, which will easily end your chances of getting a perfect score. These end platforms can be done with or without snowshoes, but most players prefer to do it without snowshoes. What's important is that you stop as little as possible, as the more time you waste standing still, the more likely you are to fail in getting a sub 210. However, going too fast can be a curse, as it can lead to you getting tunnel vision and knocked off by the flame trap at the very end. Whether or not you do the end platforms in snowshoes or out of snowshoes doesn't really matter, but once you actually clear the end platforms, you're going to want to be in snowshoes, as you still have 2 more laps to complete. Now, assuming you followed everything that has been shown here, you should be able to snag a little bit under a 210, which is a perfect score. The score of 2 minutes and 10 seconds was made with the idea that a player knows the very basics of character control in Flag Race, and has the knowledge of using each of the respective power-ups in their given situations. There are other shortcuts in this Flag Race that can be used to shave off a millisecond over a lap, but over the course of 3 laps, this can add up to easily over a second. The problem with many of these shortcuts is that not only are they fairly difficult to pull off without practice, they also have very high risk, as failure to pull them off successfully can easily throw your chances of getting a perfect score. Get the basics of Flag Race down first, then start experimenting if you wish. For more references, you can find links to 2 different morning flag races that I ran that showcase the strategy in this video with some minor tweaks to them. One race utilizes 2 dashes per lap, whereas another race will be utilizing 1 dash per lap. Both races are eligible for a perfect score, of course.